Bitcoin at 60,000. That's pretty impressive when you think about how 7 days ago on Friday night, how depressed and bearish everybody was. And, the world was going to end and everything was going to crash down with it. And really, we've had 7 days of up and one kind of doji when we went sideways on Wednesday. So that's pretty impressive for Bitcoin. Here we are still in this big correction that we started in March of this year, choppy and sideways. This was the low that we made last Friday night, and this is what we have done since then. It's also a really good reminder about how the mood music can change over a weekend and how you feel on Friday night. I mean, right now it looks like super bullish and everything's great and it's going to keep going, right? Well, we could have a little bit of a pullback before that happens. And I think next week, especially with the Fed and everything that's going on in the world, could be a little bit more volatile. It's been pretty, impressively volatile lately, but we have been underperforming stocks in Bitcoin, and back to the daily 50 and back to this big round 60,000 number is a really big deal. Daily 50 moving average. Let's talk about that, because for me, it's the backstop. When you're in a trend, I look for like in this uptrend we were at the start of this year, I look for the daily 20 moving average to pull back to keep trending higher. And for me, the daily 50 is like the backstop, and it's a pretty good support and resistance. So, once you get above it, you look for it to be support. Let's look back to the bottom that we made here in 2023. You can see when we got stuck underneath the daily 50 moving average, it was resistance and we kept going down. And then when we recovered and got above the daily 50 here, it was support and we kept going higher. And we can go back further. Support, and then we were underneath it, it was resistance. So it is a really good determinant of trend, and it's been working in this consolidation since we've been in since March. It's been working really well that way. If we look, when we lost the daily 50 in April, it became resistance, and once we got above it, we moved very strongly back to the top of the range. We did that again here in August. When we were underneath it, it was resistance. We got stuck underneath it for quite a long time, and then when we did, we had a really nice strong move higher. That's kind of how the daily 50 works. When you get above it, you do see quite strong moves. And here you can see it has been within this sideways consolidation that we have been in. It's been a really good trend determinant. One thing I will say when we look at this is most times the first time you come back to it, it can be a bit tricky resistance from underneath, and the same way from above. You don't kind of tend to smash through it first time, but if you do, it is pretty bullish. So I would say if we can close above it tonight, remember it's a daily 50 moving average, so the daily close is important. I think if we can hold above 60,000, then we should see a continued squeeze and people will chase it. And, we can look higher than to, I think 62,000 I had as the first measured move. And then beyond that, back to the daily 200 moving average again. Important support and resistance previously. And then we can talk about the top of the range and potentially a bottom here in Bitcoin. So quite a big deal, because we've gone up in such a strong straight line, 7 days in a row, with only really one pause candle. It is possible that we're going to do one of those Bitcoin moves where we have a little bit of an overshoot and then we see a little bit of a tail. But at the moment, it seems to be closing really strongly. And so I would say on lower time frames, we will keep squeezing, and I'm going to be looking to see if we can hold above this level. So 60,000, it's a big deal, 236 fib. Where does that fib come from? It comes from the high that we made in March, measured from the low that we made in November 2022. This 236 fib, first time we got back to it, we had a really strong 50% bounce off it, and then it has become quite important support and resistance. So we've kind of got three reasons why this is quite a strong level here. This daily 50 moving average, this 236 fib level, and that big round number effect of 60,000 in Bitcoin. So if we stay strong and we can close above it, I think we keep squeezing higher, and I would look for, in fact, the first measured move comes from, if I measure from this low to this high and project it from here. 61.8 comes in at 62,400. But don't be surprised if this is just a little fakey move above this level and we close back underneath it. That, just be careful of that in Bitcoin. Quite a few other altcoins that I've been watching are at quite interesting resistance, and I'm going to look to see if they close above them. One that's really been underperforming, let's put regular candles on, is ETH. And ETH, here we are at the daily 20 moving average, 2,500. A close above this daily 20 moving average, I would then look for it to be support and keep going higher. But for me, this is, although it's a very similar pattern to Bitcoin, it really is underperforming. Where are we going to go if we hold above this daily 20 moving average that should become support? It's at 2,444. If we do the same thing here and we measure from this low to this high, project it from here, you can see that 2,622 should be next in ETH, and we're going to go up there and say hi to the daily 50 moving average and see if we can push higher from there. I really do see ETH, unfortunately, still underperforming Bitcoin at the moment. So it's all about Big Daddy, and let's see where we go from there. There are some other altcoins that I think are really interesting levels to see if we can push through tonight. One of them that I've been looking at is Tau BitSensor. Kind of like this one because when it moves, it really does move. It's a fun trade for me. And we made a higher low in this one, and we said if we could get above these daily moving averages, we went sideways at them for 3 days, and we had a kind of funky little bottoming pattern. I really like this shape here, and I thought that 315 might be resistance, and if we get above it, 403. But I kind of feel like first time back here, you can see, look, if we look left, lows, 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 highs, highs, support and resistance, really strong fib level at 315. So I don't want it to kind of just fake above and fail here, and we're a little bit sideways at it. So it's one of those levels, if we have a nasty pullback there, I think it, and we could come back to test these moving averages. I might take some partial profits and wait and see, but momentum seems to be pushing, so I wouldn't be surprised if this closes above and keeps going, especially if Bitcoin can get a little bit of a squeeze on. That's one that I'm looking at. Another one that we were following is Telegram. If we go to the weekly, we were going fib level to fib level to fib level. Let me take off my, I'm taking off my alert here. I measured from this high to this low. We are trapped in between these weekly moving averages, and 5.9 was my first target. If we could break above 5.3 and we kind of keep going higher, I think we could see some resistance here and a little bit of a pullback, particularly because of these daily moving averages. So this has seen a really nice move. I think we've also got 5 waves up from the low, which is, I know we haven't, my bad, not 5 waves up. So I'm waiting to see again. This is another one where if we squeeze through this level, if we just do a shallow pullback, not too much of a move, I'm going to hang on to this one because I think we should continue higher. And I am looking to this 50% retrace from the highs to the lows. 1, 2, 3 here at 6.3. I do have a position in this one, so I'm being a little bit careful and watching for a reversal. So what does a reversal look like for me? I usually go down to lower time frame moving averages. So here we are on a 15-minute. At the moment, you can see this is all really bullish and we're riding them higher. So no reason for me to get out here. Or if we start rolling over the hourly moving averages, at the moment you can see from the low that we made on the 11th of September here, or even from this low, when you're in a nice trendy move, you ride this hourly 20 moving average and it keeps going higher. If we start losing that, I think we see a bit of a bigger pullback and I might start unloading some. Or if I see a topping pattern, double top, head and shoulders pattern, the kind of a sharp move and a rounded retest, that also gets me out. So I haven't seen that yet in ton, but it is a big important level to watch for that. FET is a chart. I'm really liking the look of this one. If we look at this on a weekly, let's put regular candles on. The number one reason that I really like this is, as you know, I'm always looking for like 3 in equal 3-wave measured moves. So if I measure from this high to the low in fetch, and I measure from here, this was a textbook equal measured move. I also think we're making a very nice potential bottoming pattern here around these weekly moving averages. And I've drawn what looks like a head and shoulders pattern, which is very tempting. But I have to say, because of this equal measured move, when you bounce from an equal measured move, your confirmation of a reversal is usually back above this 61.8 level, which in this chart, and above this swing high, which in this chart would be 1.56. So it's very tempting, but I'm a little bit concerned we might fail at this 1.56, so I'm being a little bit cautious. We're a little bit sideways here at the moment. I think buying dips and seeing if we can push above this is a really good strategy. If we do that, because we've done this equal measured move, I am going to put my fib retrace levels on from this high to low, and the most common retrace of an equal measured move like this is the 786 fib, which is all the way up here at 2.88, but you kind of go level to level to level. So at the moment here you can see we're sideways at this 236 fib level. We need to hold above it, then we go up to 1.75, 2.08, 2.4, and then this is my target up here, and I kind of ride it level to level to level higher. So fetch, I think, I do like this bullish cross of the daily moving averages. I do think that we should hold above this and continue at least higher to this 200 moving average, and then maybe we get a bigger pullback there before we continue higher. But really, this is looking quite nice for a bottom at a really kind of measured move level. What happens if I'm wrong though and we fail? What if we don't get above this previous swing high and we stay in a downtrend? Well, that puts us just unfortunately in a kind of sideways range, and we are vulnerable to a retest of the lows and potentially a tag of this newly minted weekly 200 moving average. So that's what I'm watching for tonight. Big levels. I just don't want to be faked out. I'm just very aware that sometimes the sentiment on Friday night can be very different on a Monday morning. And so although everything feels really good tonight, we just need to be a little bit careful and watch for some reversals.